يلا.
Guten Tag, willkommen. Ich bin Dr. Tarek Ghabbour, der Tag, Sonntag, von 2 Minuten, die Chemie und Physik und Biologie studieren. For fest alle gut. So, we will start an introduction for chemistry, biology, and physics. Okay, physics is the most fundamental and all-inclusive of the sciences, and has had a profound effect on all scientific development. In fact, physics is the present day equivalent of what we used to be called natural philosophy, from which most of our modern sciences arose. Students of many fields find themselves studying physics because of the basic role it plays in all phenomena. In this chapter, we shall try to explain what the fundamental problems in the order sciences are. But of course, it's impossible in so small a space really to deal the complex, beautiful matters in these other fields. Lack of space also prevents our discussing the relation of physics to engineering, industry, society, and war, or even the most remarkable relationship between mathematics and physics. Mathematics is not a science from our point of view, in the case that it's not a natural science. The test of its validity is not experiment. Chemistry, which is perhaps the most deeply affected by physics, is chemistry. The early days of chemistry dealt almost entirely with what we know all call inorganic chemistry, the chemistry of substances which are not associated with living things. Considerable analysis was required to discover the existence of many elements and their relationships, how they make the various relativity, relatively simple existence of many elements, compounds found in the rocks, earth. This early chemistry was important for physics. The interaction between two sciences was very great because the theory of atoms was to a large extent substan- substanted to a large extent by experiments in chemistry. It was the collection of rules as to which substance is combined with which and how the constituted inorganic chemistry. The other branch of chemistry is organic chemistry, the chemistry of the substance which are associated with living things. For a time it was believed that substances which are associated with living things were not marvelous, that they could not be made by hand. More complicated arrangement of atoms are involved. Organic chemistry obviously has a very close relationship, a very close relationship to the biology which supplies its substance. Much physical chemistry and quantum mechanics can be applied to organic as well as to inorganic compounds. However, the main problems of organic chemistry are not in these aspects, but rather in the analysis and synthesis of the substance which are formed in biological systems in living things. This leads in steps towards biochemistry and then into biology itself or molecular biology. I want you to see the Krebs cycle, citric acid cycle. Next time I will try to draw for you the citric acid cycle, the, the Krebs cycle. In the cells of living systems, there are many elaborate chemical reactions in which one compound is changed into another and another to give some impression to the enormous efforts that have gone into the study of biochemistry. Hope we see a whole series of molecules which change from one to another in a sequence of cycle of rather small steps. As I told you, it's called the Krebs cycle, the respiratory cycle. Each of the chemicals and each of the steps is fairly simple in terms of what change is made in the molecule. But this is a centrally important discovery in biochemistry. An enzyme is made of another substance called protein. Enzymes are very big and complicated, and each one is different from being built to control a certain special reaction. The names of enzymes in each reaction, sometimes the same enzyme may control two reactions. Same enzyme control the two reactions. There must be a supply of certain atoms and a way of disposing of other atoms. Take hydrogen for example. There are enzymes which have special units on them which carry the hydrogen for all chemical reactions. Three or four hydrogen reducing enzymes which are used over cycle in different places. It's interesting that the machinery which liberates some hydrogen at one place will take that hydrogen and use it somewhere else. The most the most important feature of the cycle, the transformation from GDP to GTP. It honor it than the other, just as there is a box inserted enzymes for carrying hydrogen atoms around. There are special energy carrying boxes which involve the triphosphate group. So GTP has more energy than GDP. And if the cycle is going one way, we are producing molecules which have extra energy and which can go drive some other cycle which requires energy. The contraction of muscle. The muscle will not contract unless there is GTP. We can take muscle fiber, but it, it in water and add GTP and the fibers contract, changing GTP to GDP if the right enzymes are present. So the real system is in GTP transformation. In the dark, the GTP which has been stored up during the day is used to run the whole cycle around the other way. An enzyme you see doesn't care in which direction the reaction goes, for if did it would violate one of the laws of physics. Next time I will draw for you the systematic diagram of DNA. Very important, the systematic diagram of DNA. The structure of the substance of DNA was studied for being a long time, finally chemically to find the composition, and then with X-rays to find to find the pattern in space. The result was the following remarkable discovery. The DNA molecule is a pair of chains twisted upon each other. The backbone of each of these chains, which are analogous to the chains of proteins, but chemically quite different. is a series of sugar and phosphate groups. Now we see how the chain can contain instructions, and if we could split this chain down the middle, we would have a series of BAADC, BAADC, and everything could have a different series. Perhaps in some way, the specific instructions for the manufacture of proteins are contained in the specific series of the DNA. Next time, by God's will, we will see the citric acid cycle, systematic diagram of the DNA, and I hope everything will be okay. So, Gison no jar Herzlichen Glückwunsch uns. Where what I want to tell you is Duncan session Tissues of Widerschen. Thanks so much.